Hey everybody, it's your girl Barbie J here, and today I'm reviewing Harlem, which is an Amazon Prime exclusive series from the Creative Girls Trip about four black female friends, Camille, Ty, Angie, and Quinn, and I think they're all in their 30s, living in New York City, and most of it is based in historic Harlem. Shout out to Harlem, which is where your girl Barbie J is from. Shout out, that's right. And let me tell you, Harlem is a 10 episode comedy from Tracy Oliver, and many people are comparing it to Issa Rae's Insecure, which I believe is in Los Angeles, California, based over there. And so I'm not going to try to give any kind of recap only because I don't want to do any spoiler alerts. I want y'all to be able to know what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. But I do want to say it is a wonderful show. And check this out. It is actually being filmed one block over from Barbie J's house. Yes, it is. All the time I was seeing the film crews, I had no idea what movie was, what show, or what was being, because they're always around. They be on my block, the next block. Anyway, even Raising Canaan is going to be filmed out here, has been being filmed out here. But anyway, I don't want to go off track. So, these four tight friends, even though they're they're tight friends from college, there's those similarities. And even though they go through all their argument and disagreements and things like that, they still are showing us togetherness, friendship, how they rekindle, how they forgive. All of that is being showed in this. And I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to go through all the characters for you, see what you think about the show, but I think you really should go check it out. We got Camille. Camille is played by Megan Good, and she's a professor. She's a professor, I believe is an adjunct professor at Columbia, and she's a little quirky and awkward at some time. And let me make it clear, she's a professor of anthropology. All right. And so her goal is to becoming like the associate professor position, and so she could get tenure. So she wants to get tenure. And what she did was 4 years before, she sacrificed going away with her boyfriend, going away to France with him so that she could stay and work towards her goal, which she's still working towards. So it's a little heartbreaking, but it's what we do. We fight for we have to fight for what we want in life. And as black women, many of us have to fight even harder. People of color, period, have to fight even harder to get to where they want, whereas their white counterpart might get in there much easier, if you know what I mean. Then we have Quinn, who is played by Grace Byers. She was in Empire. In this show, she's a designer, and she's struggling to keep her little fashion line afloat. I shouldn't say her little fashion line, because it's a beautiful fashion line. She's trying to keep it afloat. And sometimes I feel she's not that bright. you know, she's going after always trying to date and find that right man. And she keeps having to go to her mom to borrow money. In one of the episodes, the landlord raised the rent $250,000, $2,500, right? $2,500 or something like that. And I'm telling y'all now, as a real estate agent in Harlem, I can believe that. I can believe she went through that because I've seen it myself. Barbie J is and was, no, I still am a part-time real estate agent. But this is what you're going to see in Harlem. As the gentrification comes along, it has been gentrified and it has changed a lot, a lot. But her mother, it seems like her mother, Quinn's mother, never seems to be happy with her decisions that she make. So like I said, her mom is played by Jasmine Guy, and I think she's supposed to be from Barbados or something. So that, she's always having to borrow money. The mother doesn't want to do it, and Quinn doesn't want to have to do it either. But like I said, she one episode, she went on a date all the way to Long Island for 11 p.m. date. Who goes out to Long Island for a date at 11 p.m.? Doesn't that sound like a booty call to y'all? And then her friend is loud in the club. They can't really talk and stuff. And here she is. Somebody spilled something on her. She wants to go to the bathroom and clean it off. She puts her pocketbook on the seat and tells him to watch her pocketbook. And she's in the bathroom trying to dry herself out. And when she comes back, he's gone and her pocketbook's gone. So that's when I say not very bright at times. Little off something, But I'm like, okay, Quinn. But her friends always tease her about stuff. And they always try to ignore her. Like her problem's not that big because she comes from money. And Quinn does come from money. But Quinn doesn't want to have to use that money. But if she wants to keep her business open, she has to keep going back to her parents. Then we have Angie, who's played by Shaniqua Shandai. Never heard of her before. In the episode, she's a singer, and she wants to relaunch her singing career after getting it. She was dropped from her record deal 5 years previously, and it seems like, I'm not clear, but it seems like she's been sleeping on her friend's couch for those 5 years, which is Quinn, on Quinn's couch, using Quinn's money, taking advantage, I feel, because she takes advantage of her Uber account. She's Ubering. One scene, she took a Uber all the way to the Dwayne Reed in Chelsea or something like that because she didn't like the Dwayne Reeds up in Harlem. I said, what in the world? And the Uber driver's like, we done passed about 6 Dwayne Reeds. Like, can't you? And she's like, no, I don't like that one. I don't like that one. It's just like a little bit. But she's definitely the comic relief in the show. She's a bigger girl. She's bigger than all the rest of them. I call her, they make her the comic relief. And so she wants to get a job singing. And it's been rough for her. So like I said, she's the biggest and the loudest of the group, if you ask me, and provides most of the punchlines in the series. She finally gets a job in the show, the Broadway musical Get Out, and it's just so funny. We laugh, especially when they do that song, The Sunken Place. You remember that part of the movie when he's in the teacup and going stinking into something, and she's twirling the spoon? I was like, okay, they really need to make this a really musical, because this was funny that they did this whole thing with this. But she felt like it was a sellout. She didn't want to do it at first. But a few people that she was running to and met, they were saying, you should do it. Just get that money and do this and do that. And then when she tried to get into it and they accepted her, she found out that she wasn't part of the union. So to be in the show, she had to give $600 to be in the union. And she had to go and ask for money from Quinn for that. And Quinn is like, I'm trying to get money from my mama. You get money from me. You're sleeping on my couch. You're not paying rent. You're eating my food. But she gave it to her. She said, I give it back to you. And then she pretended to be a Jamaican nanny so she could make money doing that. So she was trying to do something to pay Quinn back. That's for sure. But she's very funny. And there was a scene in the play when the white girl kept using the word ghetto. This ghetto production and this ghetto something. And Angie went off. And I was sitting there saying, go. I was rooting her on because I was going off myself. I don't like when a white person is talking about this ghetto this and this ghetto that. What does it mean? And then the black director is defending the white girl when that was racist, and she should be the one apologizing to everybody for using that language. And they're getting on Angie saying she basically was calling the girl racist. But let's be real, what it was. That white girl pulled a Karen. She pulled a Karen. I ain't gonna tell y'all what she did, but that's what she pulled to get her way in this show. And lastly, we have Ty, played by Jerry Johnson. And she is a lesbian tech mogul, I guess, and seems to be the most financially secure out of the group, to be honest. And she created a dating app called Cube or something like that for queer people of color. And she is just doing wonderful. But she fell for a woman who is of the opposite race. And she was just so enjoying her and the relationship together. But it's funny, they showed her, I swear she jumped into bed with different people at least 3, 4 times in these 10 series. And I'm like, is that normal for LGBTQ people to just always be jumping in bed? Or is it for women of color? Because they showing all of them. Well, no, not all of them sleeping around. But they try to make it seem like we get into bed so quickly with people. So I didn't know if that was, I'm curious how some of you feel about that. Let me know down in the comment section, please. But she she's out on a date with the white woman, and she walks down the street, and one of the times she walks down the street and 2 black girls are looking at her like, like, what you doing? We in Harlem and you walking down with this white woman, giving her the look, and it made her feel funny. And then she just wanted to go home and kind of abruptly ended the date with the girl. Then another time she's walking down the street with the girl again, tried it again, and a black guy walking down the street with a white woman gave her the chin like, yo, what's up? All right. And she really started feeling bad again. So she basically, well, you'll see what she ends up doing at that point. Like I said, I'm trying not to do any spoiler alerts. But those are the 4 women. Then we have Robin's, not Robin, Dr. Robin Goodman, who is played by Andrea Martin. She's Camille's, she's the department head over there for I guess the anthropology department or whatever, where Camille works at Columbia. And she is funny as ever. That woman is hilarious. I liked her. But she ended up getting herself fired. And so they had to get her replacement in. You'll see why that happened. They get her replacement in, and it's Dr. Elise Pruitt, played by Whoopi Goldberg. And Whoopi Goldberg, her being the new department head, is not very fond of Camille or her social media presence. Meanwhile, Camille is like, she's her idol. She's so thrilled to see her, but she almost makes a fool of herself in front of the department head, in front of Dr. Pruitt. Throughout the whole couple of episodes, she makes a mistake and she's late for appointments and things. And Dr. Pruitt asked her to be on a panel, and she started talking about her own personal relationship. She went off track. So she did a couple of things that Dr. Pruitt's like, I don't think you're ready yet. So that she gets in her own way, if you ask me, to be honest. And throughout many of these episodes, a lot of them start off with her, with Camille, talking like it's as if she's teaching a class, and she's talking about the Musu tribe. It's like a Himalayan, from the Himalayas, a Musu tribe or something from the Himalaya, where it's a culture of unbreakable sisters, the unbreakable sisterhood, whereas the women are the controllers of their own romantic relationships. So we hear that throughout when she's trying to make decisions about things, and they kind of use that as a theme for a few of the episodes. And with Camille being such a popular teacher, her classes are popular. They're always waitlisted. So, but Whoopi, wait a minute. One of her classes, let me just go back to this before I go on with that. Her student kept bringing her apple. You know how back in the day they say you bring your teacher an apple? Every day he was bringing her apple and stuff. And he kept wanting her to work with him and do stuff with him. And she was like, it is against the school policy and my policy to date a student. He wanted to get with her so bad, to the point that he quit her class so that he was no longer her student. And then he showed up at her gym. He found out where she goes to the gym, and he found out, this man is crazy. His body was tight too. He had a serious body and a half. And Angie was like, what you waiting on, baby? You need to jump on that. Because Angie all about sex anyway. She likes a lot of sex too. And, and she was like, I would have jumped on that. And she was like, he's my student. Well, he ain't your student now. So they're all telling her to jump on it and stuff. And so she decides to try it. The homeboy showed up at her house. She was like, maybe I'm changing my mind. He opened up his jacket and showed his abs and that little V that the guys have. Oh man. She was like, okay, they get in there, about to do the do. Homeboy lifts his legs, want her to lick his butthole. She was like, what? And so they showed one of them Himalayan women looking at her, in the back, going, shaking her head, saying, no, no, don't do it. She's like, oh no, we can't do this. So she sent his behind home. I ain't licking your butthole. Are you crazy? But I was saying Whoopi, not Whoopi, I'm sorry, Dr. Pruitt feels that she lacks field work, for that associate professor position, so she's not giving it to her. And that's what's going on. Black women, they seem to have to, she said, black women have to be ready to swim with the sharks, and you're barely swimming with the guppies from what I see. So she needs to work and she needs her work published in a what did she say, more of an academic journal and not just on Facebook, on social media. So that's what Whoopi was looking for, somebody who has stronger credentials to hold that position and work in that position. Y'all know what we got to do. We got to work 2 times, 3 times as hard for these jobs. So then we have Ian, played by fine ass Tyler Lepley, from the Have and the Have Nots and P Valley. And he's Camille's ex, and he's a chef. And she was supposed to go away with him to Paris, France, for him to go to school as a chef. But she sacrificed and decided not to go. And he went anyway, and he's back in town. He is back in Harlem. He returns to Harlem, and he comes back with his British fiance. And I'm thinking that fiance, her name is Mira, and she's played by Rana Roy. I need to look that up because she sure does look like the young lady who played the reporter in Queens, who was telling Jill what to do. Do this, do that, do the other. You know what? I need to look that up. Yes, I was right. That is her from Queens. She played in 4 episodes of Queens. So I had that absolutely right. But basically, this show is about the group. We watch this group of ladies navigate personal tribulations, with dating, the limit of availability of black men, and then interracial dating. They're going through careers, the challenges with their careers, the gentrification of Harlem. And it's being said that this Tracy Oliver basically kind of combined elements of Girlfriends, Sex in the City, and Living Single. That's what this bringing to people's mind when they watch this show. I'm not going to tell you anything about her relationship with Ian. I'm going to let that play out so y'all can see it. But it's interesting, and there's going to be sparks flying. I can tell you that much. But one thing I could let y'all know, the fashion in this show is all that, and it is never boring. The fashion, the soundtrack is amazing. The music is nice and hip, and it's inspiring. I get up, I'm like always going, who's that? Oh, who's singing that? I try to catch who the artists are at the end. The music is fabulous. And the men and their bodies on the show are hot, honey. Very hot. So I enjoy the chemistry that's between the actors, the 4 ladies, and even more between Ian and Camille. You guys are going to love this show. I suggest you go out there and watch it on Amazon Prime, the 10 episodes. Go ahead and binge watch it. And not just because your girl Barbie J lives in Harlem, around that corner from where they filming. No. And matter of fact, that restaurant, I've been to that restaurant that they protesting at. It's a 1 block or 1 block and a half from my church that I sing at. So it's a wonderful show. I like seeing all the parts of Harlem. Y'all let Barbie J know how y'all feel about the show. Put it down in the comments. This your girl Barbie J saying peace.